Hey everyone, welcome to lucky number 13 for Inktober. And for drawing 13, we're doing Archangel Avacyn. Avacyn is a Magic the Gathering character. She was the protector of the plane Innistrad. And Innistrad is the horror plane in Magic the Gathering. Everything in it has a horror theme. It has two blocks. The first one had Innistrad, Dark Ascension, and Avacyn Restored. And the second one, that was released this year, had Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon. In the first Innistrad block, it was a very specifically gothic horror setting. And it was awesome. It has ghosts, ghouls, werewolves, devils, demons, zombies, and Invisible Men and Frankenstein monsters, and it was just an amazing set, amazing block. All three of them were great, and Shadows over Innistrad was great as well, because Shadows over Innistrad had both the gothic horror theme, but it also went cosmic horror, so you had a lot of Cthulhian, Lovecraftian aspects to the block as well. So in the first block, when you come to Innistrad, Avacyn is missing in action. No one really knows where she went except for the leader of the church, the Avacynian church, Machias, the Lunarch. And what happened was a demon named Griselbrand challenged Avacyn to a duel atop the Hellevault. The Hellevault was an object created by a character named Soren Markov, who is a vampire planeswalker from the plane, son of the progenitor of all vampires on the plane. And he kind of realized that, the vampires can't really treat the human like cattle on the plane. And he put in a mechanism to basically protect the humans on Innistrad. And that mechanism had two parts, Avacyn and the Hellevault. The Hellevault was like a giant, almost shard of silver that was a kind of trans-dimensional prison. Almost Superman style. But unlike that, it wasn't like a giant square floating in space. It was a giant chunk of very silver-looking rock, metal, whatever. And Avacyn and her angels and the church used it to bind demons. And other horrors, but mostly demons. Because demons on Innistrad can't really be killed fully. Unless and we'll get to the story in a moment. Unless you're Liliana Vess and you're on a mission to kill demons as much as possible. But we'll get to that in a moment. What happened was, when Griselbrand challenged Avacyn, they dueled for something like 3 days straight above the Hellevault. And eventually Avacyn won out and started to bind Griselbrand into the Hellevault. Well, what happened was Griselbrand literally reached out, grabbed Avacyn, and as he was getting sucked in, she got sucked in as well. So the only person to really witness this was Machias. And maybe a couple other Lunarchs, but yeah, pretty much he kept this secret. He didn't want one to lose his power, because, let's face it, a lot of holy people don't want to lose their power. And two, he didn't want to cause widespread panic on the plane, given that their protector was basically lost in one of the things that was protecting them. So the angels on the plane fell into despair. Angels are kind of just beings of white mana, so they aren't really human-like, even though they have a human appearance, and they sort of don't think like humans. They're almost like an AI. You can kind of think of it like that. They're almost alien. They're not going to think or act like humans. So without Avacyn, they fell into despair. And with the angels in despair, with Avacyn gone, the horrors of the night on Innistrad started to come out of the darkness, come out of the woodwork, and began to reign supreme. So that's where we join Innistrad. Vampires are running amok, werewolves running amok, the people that raise the dead to form zombies and the stitched together zombies, they're running amok. Ghosts are basically running amok. And the humans are in trouble. So, what happens on this plane, or what's been happening elsewhere, I should say, before we get what's happening on this plane in the Innistrad story, is Liliana Vess, the Planeswalker, made a pact with 4 demons for eternal youth, eternal life, and power. Because that's just how she rolls. One of the demons is Kothafet, which she killed, and another one was Grizzlebrand. So Liliana, her plan is to find these demons and kill them to basically break the pact, because ain't no one gonna control Liliana Vess. So, she didn't have the means to do this until she found an item called the Chain Veil. And the Chain Veil is basically an artifact that superpowers up spellcasters and really superpowers up planeswalkers. So she has the Chain Veil, and she's going to use it to destroy these demons. And she's already killed Kothafet, and she's after Grizzlebrand now. So she comes to Innistrad looking for him, and she finds Grizzlebrand's not around. So she does some investigating. She messes up the place a bit, finds out that Grizzlebrand was pulled into the Hellavault. She actually, like Micaias the Lunarch, died. And Liliana goes and resurrects him as a zombie to get the information out of him. And he becomes Micaias the Unhallowed then. That's where that card, those 2 cards came from. So, in Thraben, like the capital of Innistrad almost, 2 of the zombie summoners, Gulkal Argissa and Gerloff the Stitcher, are basically, they're brother and sister and they hate each other, and they have this rivalry where Gissa wants to prove she's the best zombie raiser with magic, and he wants to prove he's the best zombie creator with science, and they have this whole thing where they're like, we're just gonna invade Thraben because no one's gonna stop us, and it's a huge rivalry battle thing between the 2 of them. Liliana shows up in the middle of that, and Liliana's a necromancer, so like this is like her playground, and she gets all the way to the cathedral, to the Hellavault, and she encounters what's her name? Thalia? And she basically says to Thalia, I'm gonna destroy the Hellavault to get Grizzlebrand, and if you try to stop me, I'll just kill everyone here. So Thalia's like, well, I mean, we're screwed. How bad can it be to not have the Hellavault? And Liliana blows the Hellavault open, freeing all the demons, but also freeing Avacyn. So Avacyn restored is that. Avacyn's back, and she goes out, the angels come back, humans flourish, all of the horrors of the night sort of, they don't go away, but, you know, they lose their power. And then, just in case everyone's wondering, yes, Liliana gets Grizzlebrand and kills him. So, you leave Innistrad at the end of Avacyn restored, planes back, happy ending, and everyone moves on with their lives. And then Shadows over Innistrad happens. So Sorin Markov is one of 3 planeswalkers who created the prisons for things called Eldrazi, which are kind of like Cthulhian cosmic horror creatures on a plane called Zendikar, and that's a whole nother story. But long story short for this part, Nahiri was one of the planeswalkers. She's a core from Zendikar, and she was basically watching over the prison of the Eldrazi for thousands of years. Gave up her life to do it. And when she thought the Eldrazi were going to get out, she called to Sorin and Ugin, the spirit dragon, to come back and help restore the prisons. And they didn't answer the call. Specifically, Sorin didn't. Ugin was technically dead at the time, and that's a whole nother story in and of itself as well. So, Nahiri gets out of her watch and goes to Innistrad while Sorin is making the Hellavault. And what happens is, Nahiri tries to smack some sense in the sword and get him to actually get off his lazy ass to come help, and he's like, nah, kid, I don't need to do that. I'm gonna sit here on Innistrad and help my own plane. And Nahiri gets pissed, and they fight, and Sorin locked Nahiri in the Hellavault. So when the Hellavault was opened, a very, very pissed off and almost axe crazy Nahiri was broken out as well. So she goes to Zendikar at this point. And Zendikar at this point has been ravaged by the Eldrazi, even though 2 of them are dead. And she knows the third one's out there. So she's pissed. She comes back just seeking revenge. She comes to Innistrad, and she starts doing what she does. She screws with the ley lines of mana on the plane. And this is all to create a focal point that will just draw Emrakul right to the plane. And what this does, as almost a side effect, is because angels are beings of pure white mana, the ley line changing starts making them go crazy. So this includes Avacyn, this includes Bruna and Gisela, 2 of her lieutenants. Sigarda is fine. Sigarda, the host of Herons, is fine because she is an angel of purity, and all of the host of Herons, angels of purity, they're fine. And what happens is the crazy angels start thinking all the humans are sinners, and they start just brutally killing humans and brutally killing everything, basically. And the plane is going to shit. So, yeah, I don't want to say long story short, but Jace, who's a member of the Gatewatch, comes to Innistrad looking for Sorin, because they just dealt with the Eldrazi on Zendikar, and he knows Sorin has a history with that, and he wants to bring Sorin in on this. So when he comes to Innistrad, he finds that Avacyn and the Angels are going crazy, things on the plane are warping and changing, and he can feel like this presence. Liliana's hanging around in Innistrad, he thinks it's her, he goes and confronts her, finds out it's not, and he's starting to piece together what's going on in Innistrad. I mentioned this because I mentioned Cthulhian, Lovecraftian horror, and Jace is the investigator character. In fact, the only problem I have with Shadows is he's not crazy at the end of it, though he goes through things that would make him crazy, really. So he uncovers all the clues, and it's too late, though. He and Tamiyo, another planeswalker on the plane, basically put together that, they put together a Nahiri scheme. They go to maybe try and stop it, but they're not able to. Avacyn shows up. And at this point, Avacyn is just a murdering force. She's just a being of malevolence at this point. Though it's not really evil malevolence. It's just she's white and red in a negative. So she is just like, you'll obey me or I'll kill you. I'm the law or you're dead. And everything is just not conforming to what she views as like purity or whatever in her warped mind. So she shows up where Tamiyo and Jace are and tries to kill them. But then Sorin Markov shows up. He realizes that everything is screwed. He realizes Avacyn's just gone berserk and there's no turning back with her. So he destroys her. And this is sort of the last key to letting Emrakul on the plane for Nahiri. Because Avacyn was a preventative measure from letting things outside of the plane come into the plane. And without Avacyn or the Hellevault, Innistrad was just open to extraplanar terrors coming in. And an extraplanar terror comes in the form of Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, or in this case, the Promised End. And finally, my last time to say, make a long story short, Jace goes and gets the Gatewatch. Gatewatch comes back. They can't really fight Emrakul because she's too powerful. Liliana's there at the Chainveil. She uses some necrotic energies and zombies to fight Emrakul, while Jace protects everyone's mind. And then Tamiyo, who uses scrolls for her casting, has some scrolls bound in like metal, and she uses one of those with the help of Nissa to sort of bind Emrakul to the moon. The entire moon is now holding this Eldrazi creature, and it's sort of left ambiguous as to whether or not this is actually a good thing, because maybe when we come to Innistrad again, Emrakul's gonna get out and be something new and even more terrifying. It's really, really left open at the end as to what happens to the people on this plane, to the plane itself. The Gatewatch basically get out of there. They have Tamiyo going around advertising their services. And yeah, Innistrad has been thrashed pretty violently. Nahiri escapes. she locks Soren in stone. So he, like, they don't even say whether the Gatewatch go to get Soren out. Like, I think nobody likes him because he's kind of a jerk. And Soren is just, like, literally encased in stone in a wall. And he was basically watching Emrakul show up and destroy everything. I mean, there's a lot more details, like, he and a bunch of other vampires raise an army, and there are characters that explore the woods, and there's the Gitrog monster, and all sorts of really awesome stuff on the plane. And I ended up drawing Avacyn, Archangel Avacyn, for today's drawing. And Innistrad, as you may have guessed by that passionate retelling of the story, is my favorite Magic the Gathering plane, because I love horror, and they did a great job with both the Gothic horror and Cosmic horror on the plane, to the point where I actually have something like 7 commander decks that are all Innistrad themed, and I'm planning on doing videos for all of those on my gaming channel for a Let's Command series, at least doing like the cores of the decks. And you can go check that out. I think one is probably going to be up in a couple days relative to this video's posting, if anyone is interested in seeing that. And I am kind of thinking of doing more Innistrad fan art, like the Gitrog monster, Ishgana the Gloomweaver, Alena and Halana, the trackers would be really fun to do as well. Though they actually might be getting cards soon. Same thing with Ludovec, he might be actually getting a card soon. Maybe even Geist of Saint Traft would be a fun thing to draw. We'll see. I could draw Sigarda, the Angel Waifu. Yeah, there are a lot of cool things from Innistrad I'd love to take a crack at. And I'll probably do a couple of them, because, I mean, Inktober's in October. That's Halloween, horror month. So, yeah, I just actually love this month. It's probably my favorite month of the year just because of that. Yeah, I really, really like Innistrad. So, wow, that was 17 minutes. That was a whole lot of me talking, and I didn't even feel the time go by. So, let me know what you guys think of this video. If you want me to do more storytelling, things like that, I could do them on this channel or the gaming channel. Yeah, let me know in the comments below whether you want more of that. I could do it even without the drawing for a lot of things I like. So thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to check out my Patreon and the gaming channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another Inktober drawing.